Welcome back. It's Global Morning, and this is the second discuss of the day. Now, what comes to mind when you hear maritime security? Now, Seafarer training for national development. Now, moving on, maritime security ensures the safe and lawful use of seas and coastal zones. Now, this addresses threats such as piracy, smuggling, illegal fishing, terrorism, and environmental hazards. Now, strong maritime security frameworks protect national waters, safeguard trade routes, and secure offshore resources. Now, reliable maritime governance strengthens a nation's strategic position and economic resilience. Now, if you're wondering, seafarers training, now they are critical to global shipping and port operational, high quality training aligned with international standards such as development, competent maritime professionals capable of operating modern vessels, responding to emergencies, and protecting the marine environment. Now, investing in seafarers' education builds a skilled workforce. It boosts employability and enhances safety at sea. Now, for national development, if you're wondering, a secure and well-managed maritime domain supports sustainable national development. Now, strong maritime security protects commercial shipping, which underpins international trade. A well-trained seafaring workshop contributes to employment, gives and gains foreign earnings through overseas deployment and improve port and logistic efficiency. Now, together, maritime security and seafarer training drive the growth of the blue economy. It strengthens national sovereignty and enhances global competitiveness. Now, if you're wondering about the integrated views, now maritime security safeguards the nation's marine interests. Seafarers training provides the human capital needed to operate safely and competitively. Both are essential pillars for national development, enabling economic growth, regional stability, and sustainable use of marine resources. Today on the program, I am being joined by Deck Cadet David Wubong Igbiji, and of course, he's joining me on the program. How are you doing, David? Good morning, Cadet.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
All right. Now, I want to ask a question. What is maritime security? What's that all about? Because I know that you are a mariner and a participant in the Nigerian Seafarers Development Program. So, if for someone out there wondering, what is that? What is maritime security?
Okay, very good question. Maritime security refers to the protection of the nation's coastline and shores and seas, as well as port infrastructures, the sea routes, and maritime resources from both the manned maritime resources and the natural marine resources as well, such as reefs and the likes, from threats such as piracy, smuggling, terrorism, and illegal fishing, or overfishing, if you may.
Wow. Now, why is maritime security important for national growth and development? For someone who is wondering, we hardly hear of that, or maybe we do, and we don't really put our interest in it. So why is it important for national development and growth?
Okay, great question again. Maritime security is super important. Okay, it cuts across the highs and the lows of the use of the maritime domain. But the most important one, like any other business, there's the importance of trust. There's in shipping, there's what they call the war risk insurance, where shipping companies have to pay greater damages or insurance costs in order to operate in waters that are deemed prone to piracy.
Oh, okay.
Like the waters in Somalia, and in the immediate past, in the immediate past years, Nigeria was considered a war risk zone as well. But thanks to the very great initiatives of the people of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, under the supervision of the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, the Honorable Minister Oyetola is doing an amazing job So in helping Nigerian leave the risk zone, and also lobbying for IMO category C. So basically, it ensures maritime security, and all of these policies ensures trades, safeguards offshore resources, and attract investment by maintaining a stable and predictable maritime environment between local shippers as well as international shipping companies that are looking to do business.
Interesting. And then, of course, you are I hope I'm pronouncing it, a deck cadet.
Yes, decades, yes.
Okay, deck cadet. And then now, what is the role of seafarers training in the maritime industry? For someone who is wondering, a seafarer, what's that all about?
Okay. Uh, you have pretty amazing questions. Um, so now the general professional term is mariners, right? Which goes across all the the portfolios or all the departments. So as a mariner, there's different roles. You have the engineers, you have the administrators, which is when IMASA comes in, the port state control inspectors, and all of that. But seafaring itself is uh, you know, seafaring equips seafarers with the training and this is the key word, competence, in order to safely operate vessels, ships, and the likes, okay, and to safely operate and navigate ships from point A to point B
Okay.
successfully, right? So the training itself to meet up with international standards is where the skills and knowledge needed for safe navigation, ship operation, emergency response, and compliance with international standards. These standards are called STCWs, which are the standards for training and certification of watchkeepers. So, and the regulations are being put in place by the International Maritime Organization, which I'm sure you already know is a subsection of the United Nations.
Interesting. When you hear maritime, when you hear seafarers, when you hear the blue economy, what comes to mind is some people will tell you it has a very big economic impact. Now, how does maritime security protect economic activities in a nation? How can you combine them, or how does it work in tandem, or how does it work really?
Okay. Well, the maritime security, for example, the C4I, which is the Command, Control, and Computer Center of the NIMASA and the Nigerian Navy, helps prevent disruption to shipping routes.
Okay.
So we're talking about the Gulf of Guinea. It's best to be very particular with the Nigerian shipping sector. It helped prevent disruption of the shipping route. We saw a situation rather, where a ship was actually flagged as being malicious, and they had to escape. And because of because of the complexity and the rigidity of the security architecture of the C4I, that ship was tracked all the way down to Lome, if I remember correctly. Please don't quote me on this. It's a while back, and the ship was
Okay.
the captain and the crew members were taken into custody and repatriated back to Nigeria, and where they faced questions and interrogations in order to ascertain the nature of the activities that were going on. And these are one of the very many instances where maritime security prevents, the disruption of shipping routes and allow trustability or trust in the nation's, trade deals and ensures the safety of the seafarers and crews. Right?
Okay, now,
And also,
okay,
just
go
to add,
ahead.
to add, it also, okay, well, you go first.
No, I wanted to ask about international standards guide for the seafarers training. That's the part I want to ask.
Okay.
So,
Right. So, the STCW Convention, Standard for Training and Certification of Watchkeepers, provides somewhat of a global benchmark, let's say a reference point, if you may, for training and certification as well as competencies of seafarers. So it's not like, oh, okay, because people are from Nigeria, you have your own training, and then people are from Philippines. No, it's the waters are kind of different. This is what most people do not know. The sea is not the same. It's not fluid, even if it
really?
is fluid. Point intended, yes. So the sea is not fluid in terms of characteristics. It's not the same here and there. We have what they call the fresh waters, and we have what they call the salt waters. And then also we have turbulent and and not so navigable seas, such as if you go down south towards South Africa. Those waters are rife with a lot of high tides and turbulence as well as shark infestation. But if you look at some other aspects of the other, the other seas, you have the Magellan Strait, which is as peaceful as. Oh, okay, so the Magellan Strait is kind of rough as well, and then you have the Pacifics, and then the seas in North America is kind of different, where there's cold, and then you have the icebergs and so on and so forth. So there should be a particular standard. So we're not only, for example, if you want to have a formidable maritime force, right? A formidable maritime manpower that caters to the global trade and logistic needs. You need to have seafarers that, even if you're from the tropics, you can sail successfully and safely in the Arctics. And this is what our Indian and Philippine brothers have, to a considerable extent, built resilience in. And Nigeria, with the Nigeria Seafarers Development Program, is, making very long strides to catch up in that aspect. It's guided by the STCW of the International Maritime Organization.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the training. Now, I know we spoke about that, but I really want to know. I know you spoke about the standards of training certification and watch keeping for seafarers. Now, how does seafarer training contribute to national development?
All right, great. Uh, Skills, employability, and support for the maritime sector and increasing exchange earnings. So basically, the International Maritime Organization provides a benchmark for how seafarers are, paid, right? The salary structure and all of that.
Okay.
And
I'm
it's
sure you're
only
not going to tell us if it's huge or small or let's leave that out.
oh
Let's leave
boy.
that out, David.
Yeah, there are no specifications on the pay structure.
It's fine. It's
Depends on
fine.
the
It's fine.
right, but right, right. Well, we can say now that most seafarers are not. Some seafarers complain that it's not much. It's not well. It's not big enough to accommodate the risks. But anyway, that's a discussion for some other time. I know we
Off camera. It's fine.
right,
It's fine.
right, right. So the employability. So basically, how many countries can allow Nigerian seafarers to operate in their waters and man their vessels? You know? And then the competencies. How many of these Nigerian trained seafarers, both the ones that were trained with the NSDP and the ones that are trained locally in the Maritime Academy of Nigeria, which, by the way, is a global standard now. And then how many of these certificate of competencies allows for not only near coastal voyages but international voyages as well. So that's why we have the different categories of the International Maritime Organization. And recently, the agency, the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, has, under the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, has tried to, through India Heart, for a consideration as IMO Class C, and the deliberations are still ongoing. And with that, once we're accepted in, Category C or Class C, we will definitely be at more advantage. Nigeria becomes a global exporter of not only seafaring, not only petroleum, but also seafaring.
I like the sound of that. As long as it brings national development, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. Now, what are the major threats to marine and maritime security? There are threats. I know a lot. I think I can remember one, piracy. But what are the major threats that face on to maritime security?
Yeah, great. Another great question. So, piracy being number one, you've seen Captain Phillips, right? Oh, look at me, I'm the captain now. Piracy, and then the immediate past, we saw militancy. There's also armed robbery, like basically armed robbery. That's mostly along the coast, armed robbery. The smuggling, yes, this is super important. Smuggling, uh, you know, trade actors smuggle all sorts of things. Okay, we're talking about you hear about insecurity, you hear about the bandits having weapons that they're not supposed to have, and all of these things. Smuggling of arms, wildlife, and even human beings is a very
Oh,
huge threat
wow.
to security. So, and it plays a pivotal and very important. It's very important for the authorities as well as the Nigerian Navy and all the coast guards to collectively combat provide maritime security. The other aspect of illegal fishing. So we talked about some marine reserves and endangered species as well as a lot more. Some persons fish illegally. Some go whale hunting. Some people pollute the ocean, whereby some vessels tend to release into the sea um, the ballast waters. Ballast water is basically water that's used to stabilize the ship, right? So some vessels tend to, all of these are guided by international laws, and that's all criminal offense and prosecutable. So these are the maritime security threats that the maritime sector faces, or the
Now, I want to ask a question when it comes to the maritime security threats and all of that. So, what has been, what are measures put in place to actually curb these? Because these are all menace when it comes to insecurity. So, what measures do you think have been put in place to curb them?
Okay. I've mentioned the C4I.
Okay.
Uh, that's one of the measures. Then we also have the maritime, the other program that was that's been funded by the EU. Then we see continuous training and course upgrade of the Maritime Guard Command, which is a subdivision of the Nigerian Navy.
Yeah. Okay.
Has been in partnership with the Nigerian Maritime Administration Safety Agency. This all comes together to provide a formidable security architecture
Okay.
and secure the Gulf of Guinea beyond the borders of just Nigeria alone. We're talking about other African, even ECAS, it cuts across the ECOWAS states as well as the ECAS. So we can, to some extent, say our navy and a global fleet, and we are dominating the African seas.
Fantastic. Now, how does good maritime governance strengthen maritime security?
Okay. Uh, Maritime governance threatened in terms of corruption. It's a cancer that cuts across all sectors, right?
True.
And if we can combat that aspect, we will have good governance, right? We will have also equitable distribution of resources. We have inclusivity. So it shouldn't just be one, oh, okay, you're close to the sea, right? You're the ones that will be the seafarers now.
Mm-hmm.
We have seafarers from the Sahara and those that are coming in from the deserts as well. Our brothers up north are at sea with us. In fact, any Nigerian stand a chance to be a seafarer, a successful one if they may. And this, this is just we talk about seafaring, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
then we'll talk about the port infrastructure, complete, continuous maintenance, upgrade to meet global standards and practices, acquisition of larger vessels to accommodate more containers, for example. Dredging is very important, right? We
Mm-hmm.
have this with very good terrain. We have the Niger and the Benue River. If these rivers are dredged to international standards, to let's say a depth of 11 meters, or deeper to 19 meters, for example, which is the ambitious target of the APAPA, the Lekki port.
Mm-hmm.
If we can dredge our rivers to the allowable depths, it will provide an avenue for vessels to not only bed freely, they can actually venture more inwards. So you have a situation. I foresee the vision of Nigeria where a VLCC, which is a very large crude area, or Panamax, which are the bigger containers vessel, can safely make its way into a port in Kogi State. This is the vision that I see in Nigeria. I also see a vision where the Calabar Free Trade Zone will house not only one, two, or three Panamax, but it will have basically multiple and more. And then the Benue River would be utilized to its capacity, where you will see, vessels and cruise ships sailing in Benue State and Kogi State and meet the confluence states as well. All of these are various avenues, various opportunities that could open Nigeria to a whole new realm of economics. We could at some point act as the maritime tourism hub of the future for our
Really?
vessels. Yes,
Oh.
we have the potential.
Are you
Not
sure?
even
Are you sure we have the potential, David?
absolutely, we do have the potential.
But are we putting them in best practices? Because when you hear seafarers, sometimes people are wondering what's that all about. You're not so many, are you?
Exactly, exactly. There's a huge shortage of seafarers that are. In fact, we're not globally recognized yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like you said, we've not. IMO category C will provide an avenue for that, but what we have right now, we have over 11,900 seafarers that have been completed and internationally trained by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency since its inception of the Nigeria Seafarers Development Program. We're
Okay.
talking about individuals from all geopolitical zones of Nigeria, right? And the 11,900, officers and cadets that are manning that are enforcing the Cabotage Act, which basically helps to integrate indigents or locals with shipping companies that are doing business in Nigeria waterways. So this Cabotage Act is an act that is enforced by the International Maritime Organization, and it's localized and adopted by the Port State Control, which is the NIMASA.
Okay.
Right?
Now, how does maritime security support international trade? I know you're not well recognized, like you said, but of course there is a category and it's ongoing. It's a training program for national development and growth. But how does maritime security support that international trade when it comes to that aspect?
Okay. Well, an American vessel or a Chinese shipping company, right? no, let's call it Epimolomesk, which is from the EU. When they're looking to do business in Nigeria, they need to make sure that their investments is secure. That means point A to point B successfully and back, right? Their ships will not be boarded by unknown gunmen. Their cargo will get to their destination, thereby increasing the trust of their customers. They will not have to, call the insurance to claim big money just because their vessel went derelict, or they had to throw some things overboard because their vessel got grounded because there was no the water was shallow and all of that. So basically, maritime security on the whole sphere is basically the backbone of maritime activities, right? There's no two ways. The water is not safe and secure. No shipping company, no country would want to do business there. Somalian pirates made that threat became so severe that the American Navy, uh, made that an AOC, area of operation or area of contingency. So, where the American Navy became very active there, and which helped combat the Somalian piracy. Now, there's also the other instances where, uh, you know, uh, for example, after the 9/11 event, the Seafarer with designated security duties certification became mandatory. Uh, this certificate, empowered and informed and sensitized seafarers on the global standards for recognition of terrorism, mitigation, as well as avoidance of terrorism and terrorist acts. So all of these certifications together, I can't speak too much of it because
I understand.
yeah, but yeah, you get the point.
Let's talk a bit. Let's talk a bit about ports now. What role do ports play in national development?
Great question again. Basically, if a ship is leaving uh, Amsterdam, for example, right, and it's
Okay.
heading to Nigeria,
Okay.
it needs a place to berth or anchor, right? Especially if it's a if it's a container ship, it needs a port to berth and discharge its cargoes, right? You use the derelicts and the cranes to bring the containers to shore. This is where the ports come in. Ports facilities should make that activity not only fast, it should be done in ample time because every minute is money for ships. So every single second, there's a lot of money, and we're not talking about thousands or even hundreds of thousands. We're talking about millions of dollars in goods going through the sea. In fact, I'm sure there's one item you're putting on right now, Jemai, that is probably that was shipped from the sea. So out of every three items you see, the chances are two items were shipped by sea. So
Really?
all of this, yes, people need their rights, people need their bins, people need their cement and their sheets, and they need it now.
Really? Wow.
The ports have to provide avenues where those things are not only rapidly discharged, it also provides avenues where those things can quickly and safely reach their final destination.
Very true. Unless you didn't mention cars. You didn't mention cars.
Cars as well,
You
exactly.
didn't mention cars.
Exactly. Someone in Bornu can, order a car, and it can, there should be access road to the ports that will take that car from Calabar, for example, to Bornu.
Exactly. Exactly. Now let's talk about investments. Now, how can investments in maritime education benefit a country?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
I said, let's talk about investments now. How can investment in maritime education benefit a country?
Oh, yeah. The global exchange earning, the global earnings is one aspect of it. and also national pride. I'm very happy I got trained, luckily, through the Nigerian Seafarers Development Program. Our training were in European standards, and I have colleagues like Captain Andre and Danut Accente and the rest of them that are working for AP Moller Mexon. So basically, this standard, it's a thing of joy, it's a thing of pride that you have, world class training. Seafarers that have authority at sea. Recently, we saw the Director General of the International Maritime Organization visit Nigeria, and he had a cross-table section, Maritime Academy of Nigerian Cadets. That is huge. That is a huge morale boost, okay, for Nigerian seafarers, the younger seafarers that are looking to have a career at sea, to sit with, for the lack of any other word, I'll call them potential contemporaries in the field and colleagues, and have the confidence that their execution is not just some belt up thing in the classroom, but it's something that you can see your colleagues with different races and different backgrounds coming together to collectively navigate the vessel from point A to point B safely. It's a thing of joy. It's a thing of, because we spend our life as seafarers. We are out there at sea, okay? Through the high seas and the low seas, we're there.
Yeah.
Like the turbulence. There's always that bro bonding.
Not to talk of the risk involved, David.
The risk involved.
I see that. Oh my goodness.
Other than from piracy, there's the inherent risk that the element itself, poses. We call it the act of God. There's also the act of God. We have wrecks. We have capsizing. We have we have a lot of turbulence, and then man overboard situations, and so on and so forth. These all collectively build confidence to allow man to continue to venture into the vastness of our oceans.
Now, David, I want to know, for someone out there who is just joining us and is wondering, what is the relationship between maritime security and environmental protection? Quickly now.
Oh, yeah. Environmental protection is another aspect. Okay, there's MAPO, marine, there's the MAPO Convention, marine pollution. So your question is, what is the correlation between security and marine protection?
Yes. The difference, yes,
okay,
please.
So MAPO deals conserving natural resources from pollution and pollutants, and security deals with prevention of malicious actors.
Exactly. Okay, I want to quickly ask you all of these questions before we wrap it up. Now, how does a secure maritime domain attract foreign investments?
Investors can have confidence in the ship routes. When the maritime transport, offshore operations, and trade routes are protected from risks and instability. That's called case in point. The Gulf of Guinea being secured and recorded the lowest ever recorded piracy activity since 1994.
Really?
Yes. So we basically, in 2021, if I remember, we brought piracy to 0. That's a huge win. In an area where the Niger Delta militants were there, and there are a lot of kidnapping and all of that. All of a sudden, the place became a hub, and now we can see a lot of activities increasing. We're seeing the Navy, recording very low, piracy activities, and then you can see more development is coming in terms of port expansion, integration, as well as dredging activities. It wouldn't have been possible if every two digging you see 2 militants or 3 pirates come to take your ship and your equipment. You wouldn't make any progress.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
So now, why is coordination important between maritime security and seafarer training institutions?
Okay. Coordination ensures the training program address current security challenges, preparing seafarers to prevent and respond to threats effectively. We've talked about this.
Yes, we have.
The seafarers with designated security duties, course, for example, that allows for such training. And then we also have, vessels, some commercial civilian vessels that are allowed or licensed to have armed guards on board to deter pirates as well. And this is something that this is a discussion in the maritime community that has been ongoing for a while, that we do need to, whether the discussion or debate, whether or not to arm seafarers, as, when these programs continue. But with an effective port state control, as well as a good naval fleet with close support by the country's coast guard, it will reduce the need for arming seafarers with guns and all of that, so they can focus, so we can all focus on safe navigation. That means making sure your car gets to you, your kids' Christmas presents is not late.
Exactly.
Your customers and clients receive their goods on time, and also continue to make life easy for everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Wow. Maritime security, seafarers training, national development has just been broken down by my very good friend, another person, by Cadet David Wubong Egbiji. He is a mariner and a participant in the Nigerian Seafarers Development Program. Thank you so much for being a part of the second segment of Global Morning this beautiful Thursday morning. Thank you so much, David.
Thank you, Jumayan. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Have an amazing day ahead. All right, with that, that's the second part of Global Morning. Do not go anywhere. The program continues shortly as my co-host Ramsin and I wrap it up. Stay tuned.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, now, and this brings us to the end of the program, Global Morning. Hope you had an amazing time with us from the newspaper review segment, the AM news, the first, second discussion on the program. And with that, we have to wrap it up. And I am Jumai Manson. But before then, Ramsey will tell us that all opinions, suggestions by our guests is basically their own opinion, not any of Global Television. Like I mentioned before, I am Jumai Manson, and then my co-host
Ramsey Enoch is my name, including the headlines from the various newspapers that we brought to you.
True.
They are entirely that of the newspaper houses, and Global Television does not have an editorial contribution.
True.
To it. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.
Bye.